Hi everyone, this is Jason here from Nathaniel. In this lesson, we are going to explore chord inversions like never before. I have an exercise for you which I call the chord wall challenge, using all sorts of inversions, and it also makes the usage of chords very melodic for you to compose music at the same time really master those inversions. Okay, so there is a lot lined up in this lesson. You have to stay till the very end. There's a lot which is going to be covered, starting, well, pretty much now. But before that, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Consider hitting that bell icon for notifications, because we are going to do quite a few more lessons in the coming days, months, and possibly years. So hit that bell. And all of these lessons, especially this one, you may want to consider heading over to our Patreon and downloading yourself a copy of my handwritten notes, where I'm going to draw what I call as chord trees, which will give you a very nice perspective on what chord goes with each melody and vice versa. Let's get cracking. So, what I played you in the intro video or in the intro performance was basically the note C and all the chords which go with C. Okay, so just to tell you on that front, you take C. What is a chord which has C in it? And in this entire lesson, I'm going to take the chords we use fairly often, or almost all the time rather, the major and the minor chords, right? Major, minor. Major is 1 3 5, major third in the middle, minor is 1 3 flat 5, minor third in the middle. So the question now we need to first ask before we start the exercise would be, what are all the chords which have C in them? Well, the answer to that question is a huge number if you take seventh chords, extensions, nines, sharp 11s, and so on and so forth. But if we just limit our study to only the major and the minor triads, which are 3-note chords, you'll possibly find that the answer is not too big an answer. It's just 6 chords. Why 6, you may argue? Because it's just the logic behind music, if you think about it. A chord has 3 notes. So inevitably you ask yourself the question, C will be the root or the first note of which major chord and which minor chord. Then you ask yourself the question, C will be the fifth of which major chord and which minor chord, because a major chord and a minor chord have the root and the fifth, the perfect fifth. So there we have it. You get 4 chords right there, right? So you say C is the root of which major chord and which minor chord. I'm sure you'll agree with me that the answer is rather simple. It's C major and C minor, because the name of the chord itself will be the root, right? So C, the note C or the melody note C, will be present in which 2 chords? C major and C minor. Okay, then we ask ourselves the question, C will be the fifth or the perfect fifth of which particular chord or which root? The circle of fifths can be very helpful in that regard. So, or you just know your fifths really well. So C will be the fifth of what? F, right? If you take 5 diatonic steps from F, you get to that C. So you could build yourself an F major chord which has C at the top end, or you could build yourself an F minor chord which will still have the C at the top end. So far we have C major, C minor, F major which has that C as the fifth, F minor which again has that C at the fifth. Okay, so the first 4 chords I think were quite easy. You ask yourself, C is the root of C major, C minor. C is the fifth of F major, F minor. Now you ask yourself, what is the remaining note of a triad? We've covered the root, we've covered the fifth. The remaining note will be the third. So for a major chord, the third will be a major third, which is that's how a third sounds, a major third. And the minor chord will have a minor third, which is E flat with respect to C. So now you kind of reverse engineer the question and ask yourself, C is the major third of what musical note? I repeat the question again. C is the major third of what note? The answer will actually be A flat, right? So if you take the A flat chord or the A flat major scale, sa re ga, C will be the ga of A flat or the third of A flat. So A flat major will house the melody note C. There we have it. So C exists in the A flat major triad or chord. And then we ask ourselves the next question, or in this case, in this lesson, the final question, where C is the minor third of what chord? The answer will then be A minor. So in the A minor chord, C exists as the minor third. So these are the 6 chords you're going to get, which are both major as well as minor, which contain the note C. You'll get C major, which has C as the root. You have C minor, which has C again as the root. Then you have F major, which has C at the top or at the 5th. F minor, which has C again at the top or the 5th. Then you have A flat major with C as the major third. A minor with C as the minor third, right? So to make this a very exciting inversion challenge for yourselves, you could take C first and place it with your thumb in the lowest position of the chord or the lowest voice of the chord, and now just try to move through all the other chords either in random order. Well, the order honestly can be random because it'll all sound musically exciting. Every order of or grouping of chords will sound really cool. So I'm just going to have all those 6 chords presented in front now on the screen, and you can just see what I'm playing. Okay, so I'm going to do C major with C in the low position or the bass position. Now I want to do A flat major next, but I want to keep C with the same finger with my thumb, okay, using inversion. So what do I do? So I'll do C major, A flat major, that's played as an inversion. C, E flat, A flat. Okay, also what we call as the first inversion. Name doesn't really matter, just for your information. C, E, G, C, E flat, A flat. What next shall we do? Let's do F major, which can be played as C, F, A. Okay, maybe let's go to an A minor. C, E, A inversions. You see the C is still here. Maybe let's now go to F minor. F minor, C, F, A flat. Maybe end with a C minor. C, E flat, G. So you have all these chords, right? Keeping C at the lowest position. This will be your exercise 1. C major, C minor, A flat major, A minor, F major, F minor, and back to C. So you have 6 chords, major and minor chords, which have the note C in them. Now what you could do with your left hand could be the same thing as your right hand, really. If you're playing melodically, anyway, it will help with your shifting. So you could also, or I encourage you to practice this in your left hand as well. And you can build a melodic phrase or anything on any scale in your right hand, you know. Minor, C minor, my F minor, A flat back. What I also like to do melodically is, because any of these 6 chords have C in them, you could kind of handpick 2 of them, pair them together, and that's your chord progression. You know, you could develop a 2-chord progression or 2-chord movement, and then see what melody or what scale can be constructed using those two chords. So for example, if I take C major and A flat major. There we go. You can build some music. Right? Or maybe C major with F minor. You actually get a nice scale out of those two chords. You could say one of my favorite scales, it's what we call as the Mixolydian flat 6 scale, for your information. So anyway, what have we done so far? We've tried to, let's come back to the right hand for a moment. So we did C major with a wall. I've kind of set a wall here. So this thumb will never move, or rather the thumb will play all the notes or all the chords basically with C common. C, A flat, A minor, F, F minor, C minor. And then you could do the other way around. You could say C will now be at the top end. At the top end of all the chords, right? So C major, E, G, C. Now you ask yourself, how do I play A flat major keeping C at the top? There we have it, A flat major. Come back to C major. You have the two chords there, F major, F minor. What else do we have? C minor and A minor. So exercise 1 was with C in the bottom position always. Exercise 2 now is with C in the top position always, right? And what will be exercise 3? I guess you are guessing it right now. C will be in the central position. So that's in the middle. You go C major, C minor, F minor, F major, A minor, A flat major. So you've created the wall or the consistent finger or the consistent note C in the middle. So exercise 1 was C is at the low position. You play all your chords. Then C is at the high position. And then C is at the middle position. You're going to get really tight with your inversions and in a very musical way as well. Because if you think about it, when you're composing a piece of music, like let's say, right, a song like that, when the singer is ending, this is the end, when she ends there at C, you're playing 3 chords which complement it, right? Maybe one more there, F minor. So that's da 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 da, C minor, A flat major, F major, very James Bond like, and then F minor, da 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 da, C minor, A flat major. So all of that is working with the melody C, which Adele is singing at that particular point, right? So it becomes a very musical exercise. At the same time, like a really, really rock solid way to master your inversion. So I hope you can really try this out, practice it hard, and use it in your music as best as you can, right? So with all of what we saw so far in this lesson, we've looked at it on the key or the note C. I'm going to just add one more note so that we don't just hover or rely over just one note and then build it and maybe end it there. Let's take another note. Let's say E flat. This one. So we ask ourselves first the same question and build it theoretically. So again, I would encourage you to check out the chart which we have for you. The chord trees of each chord are presented in our Patreon neatly for every key. I've written it for every single key with the interval as well. So if you take E flat, you ask yourself the question, E flat is the root of which two chords? Well, the answer is obvious, E flat major, E flat minor. Then we ask ourselves the question, E flat is the fifth of which chord? Circle of fifths, or whichever technology you have to help you with, you'll realize A flat's fifth is E flat. So you could do A flat major or you could do A flat minor with E flat up there. So you have E flat major, E flat minor, A flat major, A flat minor. Then we ask ourselves the next very interesting question. E flat will be the major third of who? The answer will be B major. Now this is where you have to do an enharmonic shift. What I mean by that is B major chord, generally when we narrate it to each other, we say B, D sharp, F sharp. But here you have an E flat, so you may get confused. So please remember, E flat is nothing but D sharp in disguise or something. So if you take B, it'll be B, D sharp, F sharp, which is still that pivotal note, E flat. So you'll have B major, then we ask ourselves the question, E flat is the third note of, minor third of which chord? The answer will be C minor. Okay, so we have E flat major, E flat minor, A flat major, A flat minor, maybe B major, B major, C minor. It also makes for very interesting thematic music. You can do what did I do there? E flat minor, A flat minor, B major, C minor. Or just do E flat minor, or major. So I'm trying my best to not change that targeted melody note, but you can eventually. But initially, practice it like an exercise. So you're seeing how creative this can get. If you're a keyboard player, if you have like a digital piano or a keyboard with a string dual voicing, you could probably hit that on and it'll sound really rich. It'll sound like, you're playing an orchestra. You could layer it with your piano. It's always a lot more fun in my experience. Right, so we've looked at all the chord options with respect to E flat. As always, you create an exercise for yourself or 3 exercises for yourself. First, keeping E flat in the left side or the low side. A flat major with E flat in the bottom. B major with B flat in the bottom. C minor with E flat in the bottom. Then you do the same thing with the top. Minor, A flat minor, A flat major, B major, C minor. See, E flat was up there. Now where shall we put E flat? The only other position left is in the middle. So major, pa-di, di, di, do, do, minor, pa-di, E flat minor, then A flat major, pa-dum, A flat minor, A flat, okay, then a C minor, lastly B major, pa-di-di-di. I would always encourage you to either sing something, try to weave a melody, pick any 2 chords and see how they can work together melodically. Eventually, you need to make some music out of the exercise. It starts as, yes, a hard-working exercise, but I'm quite certain that it can evolve into a lot of interesting ideas, which I hope you can create. right? And do the exercise. As always, I'm available on Instagram. I'll be happy to hear from you. That's the best medium for students to share their work with me at the moment. So you can share it and I will reshare it, as they call it. So feel free to do so. And don't forget to download or get yourself a copy of the notes on Patreon, which will not only give you the notes of this one, it will give you the previous notes as well as the new notes as well. And if you'd like to learn from me in person or virtually in person at the moment, you can always fill up the form in the description. We'll have a batch coming up, and not only me, you can learn from a guitar faculty, the vocal faculty, because ultimately we are working in the Nathaniel School of Music, which has a lot of offerings for different skill levels, all the way from the beginners. You could do our foundation course to the very advanced of the lot who want to get into composing and production and stuff like that. Right, guys, thanks a ton for watching the lesson. I will see you in the next one.